Welcome to the Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York. The city of Lake Placid has twice hosted the Winter Olympic Games, and the ice sliding track on Mount Van Hoevenberg has been in action since 1930. It's the venue for the first race of the BMW IBSF Men's Skeleton World Cup, and we are ready to go into the deciding second heat. Hello everybody, thanks for joining us. Martin Haven alongside me, John Morgan, getting ready for, well, maybe some surprises, John, because the first heat didn't go according to plan for everyone.
Well, the guy that we know is Superman, Martin Stucars. He's got like 300 starts in World Cups in his career. He comes down to third place spot, sixth best start for the 35-year-old. He can still do it. Axel Jung, veteran of the German program. He also had the sixth best start, but he flew down the track, surprisingly beat Martin Stucars. How many times Axel's done that in his career, but he's in a silver medal position. The real surprise of the day, Felix Kaisinger, the junior world champion. Well, he had the second best start in the field, flew down the track, and I think surprised everybody, especially the commentators. Probably didn't surprise himself, but he's the leader in a strong field. And everybody's looking at this, wow, maybe the dawning of a new era in the sport.
Yeah, might well be. Felix Kaisinger, the race leader after the first heat, the junior world champion ahead of Axel Jung and Martin Stucars, who's had 5 wins in the last 7 years on this track. A couple of times he didn't win. Alexander Tretyakov took victory. He lies 4th. Anyone in the top 8 could be in the medals. Quarter of a second covers them. A little bit of tight battles further back as well, including right down at the bottom of the top 20, where it was dog eat dog. 27 sleds started the first heat. Only the fast 20 go through. So making it through by the skin of his teeth, Sammy Meyer, and just out, Nick Timmings, Craig Thompson, Andrew Blasser, and the rest of them. So 20 sleds to go. It was minus 20 at 8 a.m. The temperature came up to around minus 8 for the first heat at 9.
Look at
it's
the wind.
Now up to minus 4. Yeah, the rain's on its way.
The wind. No, there's not rain. Not until tomorrow.
Until tomorrow. But that change of the weather, the front is coming through. It's bringing a lot of wind with it. Now, the snow won't affect the track, didn't over the last few days because the roof, but whether the wind does or not, it remains to be seen. It is very windy out though, so there's a lot of wind chill factor.
Nice Adirondack day, Martin.
It is if you're indoors in the warm and dry like us, but if you're in Lycra, shivering on the start line, yeah, not so much. And at 80 miles an hour, guys like the young American there, Austin Florian, they're going to be knowing all about it. Well, our start draw for the second heat is the reverse of their first heat performance. So 20th, Sammy Meyer goes off first, followed by Jisoo Kim, Wing Geng Yang, Kevin Boyer, and the rest. And the last to go to defend the lead in what is only his 6th World Cup start, 5th World Cup start, will be the junior world champion Felix Kaisinger. If he's feeling pressure in the first heat, it didn't show. We'll wait and see if it does in the second. 20 sleds to decide the first race of the season, and Sammy Meyer is first up. The young Austrian brother Raf, a skeleton slider. His other brother Benny Meyer competes later today again in the 2-man bobsleigh. Their father a coach. Now let's see what they can produce.
We got a text from the Meyers. That other Meyer, Raphael, was watching at home because, you know, there's Raphael and there's Benny and there's Sam and, you know, the dad, Manfred, works for the IBSF. I'm sure they're all watching back in Europe. We'll see Benny a little bit later on today in the 2-man competition where he hopes to improve on his result from yesterday. Saw something in the track there, looked like a piece of tape. So he's the rabbit, first guy down. 54:10 was the time he posted in the first run. Speeds look pretty similar. Good form, good bullet form.
Well, time in the first heat for Sammy Meyer that got him into the race was a 54:10, 54:19.
Pretty
That's
consistent.
Not bad. Yeah.
5:12 start, 500 slower start. So if he would have had the same start, he would have gone faster. So the track still has some time left in it. That's all we can do with the first sled down to evaluate it. We've been questioning the times at the start. which we seem to be a little off, but John Napier tells us because the jury wanted him to spray the start so much.
Yeah, you can see there's no
sticky.
foot marks from the first run, so
Yeah.
it has been sprayed again.
But John says it's been a little sticky up there, and the temperatures have changed. It's hard to manage the ice when the temperature's changing 25, 30 degrees in a couple hours' time.
So we didn't get close to Sun Bin Young's start record. We did have a new track record in the first heat, though.
Two guys broke it. You know, two guys got under it.
Top two guys were inside the old record.
Can we get below 53 seconds? It's 53.06 now. Unbelievable. It used to be about 56 seconds about 10 years ago.
Next up, Kim Ji-soo of Korea. He has 1/100th of a second advantage over Sami Meyer from the first heat. That's how close it is up and down this field.
But pretty good start. 8th best start of the first run with a 487. So see if he can match it or stay within a couple hundredths. 47. So that start is not sticky. Just Sam Meyer didn't have as good a start in the first run. Second run is the first.
The other thing is when the wind's blustering around like that, sometimes you can just run into a tiny little bit of a headroom. And when we're talking 4 or 500s.
Not up there. It's covered. It's totally covered. It's an arena up there at the start. But you know, that in the old track, yes, absolutely. Any place where it's open, a gust of wind can really affect you. 4,400s.
Wow,
huge.
Big advantage. 2,600s faster at the start, and he's holding that speed down the track.
This is a way better run. He only beat Meyer by 1/100th of a second. This run down, he's going to beat him by a half second.
He was broadside through the chicane in the first heat. This is much better from Kim Ji-soo.
Come on, when you go 30, 4000s faster the second run, 5400s, 53.65.
Well, that would have left him in 14th place, not 19th place.
Well, that might tell you the track's got some time. We could go sub 53 seconds here at Mount Van Hovenberg.
Yeah, because his first run wasn't great. There was mistakes all over the place. He looks a lot happier with that.
Very good start time, this young Korean.
Only his 7th World Cup race. He hadn't done a World Cup here before, but the Koreans do lots of training on this track in their early days, so he knows it well. Look at the form in the chicane, John.
Yeah, he gets...
Takes the tiny tap, doesn't panic, doesn't steer, lets it go.
15th at the World Championships last year in Whistler. His first, look at the bullet form there. Very quiet and relaxed on the sled. Wow, to come down a half second better than your first heat. Wow.
Well, shows what the first heat should have been. And that's part of the trick
Consistency. Be consistent.
Yep. Well, Yang Wengang of China now. Both of our Chinese athletes made the field. 2 out of 2. That's not bad strike rate.
Look at the build on him. I mean, he looks like a skeleton athlete. Long jumper. Both Chinese athletes in the field come from track and field long jump.
Very familiar faces coaching the team. Willi Schneider, who builds the sleds, who's been with them from the outset, and now he's been joined by Andy Schmidt, who was the keystone in British skeleton success over the last 3 quads.
And between them, I think they had at least 3 or 4 world championships in the decade of the 90s right before skeleton became the Olympic discipline in 2002 in Park City.
It's a leaf, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, finally fell off the tree.
497 starts, was second quickest.
Bad
He's
hit there,
still
though.
behind Kim Ji-soo.
Yeah, he's had a bad exit of Shady. That's where you want to slingshot yourself down to the bottom. Now he's getting in a position where he could fall behind Sam Meyer.
Yeah. This is going to be touch and go between him and Sami Meyer. I know brother Raphael is watching at home with Elizabeth. 54.35.
So Young falls back.
Well, it's only his, 5th World Cup for the 22-year-old. So still very much on the learning curve. And as we talked about with Kim Ji-soo, it's the consistency. One good run is not enough. You've got to be able to repeat.
He was 20th at the World Championships last year, but look at the build, you know, the square shoulders, tall,
long,
athletic,
and lean. You think of Matt Antoine, you think of Gregor Staley,
Don Parsons,
the Ducours brothers.
Yeah, Thomas especially.
Yeah.
Good form, but watch, he comes out and watch him hit the our right side.
Yeah.
When you're trying to accelerate there with a slingshot effect, that's not what you do.
Just held on to it a little too long.
He's got his head down, though, very brave, and, you know, he's on the wrong side and pays the consequences, and that's why he's 3rd out of 3 sleds.
Well, next up for Canada is Kevin Boyer. Boy started 18th fastest, came down 17th. Wasn't the tidiest of runs.
Well, he's got a 200ths lead in the bank. The speed 35.8 on the left is almost a full kilometer down to Kim, the Korean, who had a spectacular second run, improved himself by a half second. So that tells you he didn't have a very good first run.
Boy's teammate Kyle Murray, in his third World Cup start, was first off in Heat 1, didn't make the field. So Boyer, the only Canadian in this top 20.
Hard to believe. Canadians who dominated skeleton in 2006 and 10. Multiple silvers and golds.
Well, everything's cyclical, isn't it? You know, you rise, you fall, you hopefully rise again, and Canada need to turn this around. Eric Benotas, part of their coaching lineup this year again, has moved away from Team GB. And Boyer doesn't hang on, 1300s back in second place. So now, when you're standing in the leaders box like that, rising up the order, you go, oh, damn, if only my first heat had been better, I wouldn't have gone so early. Orvie Garrett, silver medalist here, 95-96, helping with the sled.
You talk about all the Americans and Canadians, 2002, 6 and 10, an American or Canadian won the gold medal.
Yep.
14, I think, since then, I think the only medalist has been Matt Antoine in 14, right?
Yep.
So that's
bronze medal. Yep.
It's transferred away from North America to the Latvian, to the Russian, to the Korean, and you know, it's now the Germans are emerged.
Kevin's parents coming here next week. There's Judy Shea, Olympic champion Jim Shea's mom, who's counting it all up on the scoreboard.
She's done that for about 20 years down there. Got a great rapport with the skeleton athletes.
Alex Ivanov, I'm told. For Team USA, Caleb Smith, silver medalist here in 2006-7 in men's skeleton, holding the sled for him. Back coaching the US program again.
Pittsburgh State decathlete, but he's also got the black belt in karate.
So we like him. We say very nice things about him.
Start time, though, I can't believe his start. He had the 26th best start in the first run, which was last, but he motored himself into a position top 16, so he can definitely slide, but unless he improves his start, he's going to have a hard time getting on podiums out here.
First ever race in the World Cup this weekend for Ivanov. Now he's
good form.
Fourth at the start, so he's got to overhaul the guys who've improved on their first heat. His start wasn't as quick as his first.
113 clicks he's going to need. He's, you know, not that number. So he's 24 to 29 now that he's up to third. This is where he made up his spot. Look at his head down.
Yeah.
Give him that credit. He's
driving
very
with the head.
Comfortable at 80 miles an hour blind.
Yep. Knows where he's going.
Third.
Moves
He drops
up one
two
spot.
spots.
So, yeah.
So Kim from Korea had a unbelievable second run. Again, you would have been 14th with that run in the first heat.
Yeah. Well, in a field of 27, Ivanov did well on his debut in the World Cup to make the top 20, make the cut, and he will end up no worse
than 18th.
18th, yeah. He's a little disappointed with that, but again,
Alex, get the start time down. I was really impressed with not this, the first 50 meters. I'm impressed with he's got his head buried in the ice at 80 miles an hour down in the speed parts of the track. Like right here, look at his head down. So you want to talk about, look, you know, he's got to peek there a little bit because he knows he's offline, but as he goes into the next two curves, his head is just buried in the ice. That's a good technique.
Jisoo Kim of Korea leads Kevin Boyer and Alex Ivanov of the USA. 5 down, 15 to go. First race of the BMW IBSF Men's Skeleton World Cup in Lake Placid. Martin Haven, John Morgan watching the action. And here is the sixth of our starters, Jung Sung-gui from Korea. Katsuhiro Koshi lays the sled on the ice. Koshi-san helping with the driving coaching now with these Korean athletes. Continuing to bring youngsters through into the field.
95, 89. So he really improved at the start. 495, 12th best start. That'll move him up into a single digit unless the start track got fast, which it could because it warmed up a lot.
Frosty.
It's warmed up a lot.
20 years old, this is his first ever World Cup race. So to make it through into the top 15 was a good start, and this is looking like a good second trip.
Look at his feet, look at the technique. Let's see if he can get out of here. Ooh, head up a little bit on the exit of Shady. See if he puts his head down here. Watch him in the chicane for his head. He's looking up quite a bit. 1600s, 118.4 kilometers. That's a kilometer plus down to his teammate. Well, it's coming back.
It's going to be him or
Close.
Kim Ji-soo.
200s.
200s. He beats his more experienced teammate.
Race within a race.
Richard Bromley, the sled builder, and Katsuhiro Koshi. That is the driving force behind this men's skeleton team.
The two of them had good starts.
Yep.
So that means all three Korean sleds will start in the 80s. That's a pretty good second run.
Yep, 87s and 89s, 83 for Sun Bin
He
Young.
was 2200 slower. His teammate Kim was like 50 hundredths faster. So if you eliminate that first run, that Kim would have been up in front of him. Here, you know, again, the head up. Just keep watching the head up, and you can see his head's way up.
Yeah. Well, between these two Koreans, between Jung Hee and Kim, he's just pushed out the leaders box, total World Cup races between them, now 8. So this is his first, it's Kim's 7th, so they are short on World Cup experience, but they've got lots of potential.
When you start the sled, you have a chance.
Well, let's take a look now at the top of the track. In 14th place after the first heat, Austin Florian. Caleb Smith with the sled, and his teammates from the women's squad up there cheering him on as well.
93, so we should go to a 90. It seems like everybody's getting faster up here. There's the 90. So now he's got the 700, 36.7 kilometer speed. Let's see how that matches up. That's pretty good. A little bit down to the fastest speed so far on the Exeter Curve 1.
He needs to relax into this run. He lost a little bit of time in the first heat. 11th fastest starter, ended up in 14th place.
Clarkson University, about an hour from here. Top engineering school in the U.S. He's got an engineering degree. Alpine skier, so he likes to go fast.
Came nicely off Shady. Little rattle in the labyrinth.
Head. Gonna need a good line here. Bang.
One hit.
500 speed off the pace. He's got first numbers all the way down, but it's gonna be close here.
2 kilometers shy in terms of top speed on Ji-soo Kim, so he's gonna be 100. Big skid off 19, up to the line.
Home track advantage there.
Shakes his head at little errors creeping in off Shady. He down in the labyrinth, just was zigging when he should have zagged, to use a phrase that relates to this track.
Start wasn't bad. He was 12th in the first heat, probably be top 10, maybe 11th in this heat.
That's Coach Tuffy Latour. Lots of Latvian fans as ever.
On the crossover here, look at the feet. He's got they're spread.
Yeah.
Right is up in the air. He's a little toe touch, trying to get himself away from that wall at 12. And here he gets behind the elbow. You do not want to see yourself disappear like that, because then you have to traverse to the other side of the wall.
Again, you see him picking his shoulders up off the sled. That's indicative of a big steer with the knees. That's a big correction. So Austin Florian leads the race. And here's Dr. Don Parsons with the helmet colours of his famous hero, Ayrton Senna, the Formula One ace. And Don Parsons with a 500th of a second advantage over our current leader, Austin Florian. First race since claiming bronze in the Olympic Games in Pyeongchang in February 2018.
5:04, then 5:07. Dom was always like that, you know, the 400-meter sprinter, tall, like the Chinese we talked about. And again, the last time we saw him was the Olympic Games medal. Then he went out and got married. Then he went out and got, what is the degree again, Martin?
Doctorate in advanced engineering of some kind or other that's too clever for me.
Way too smart to be involved. Hey, the guy that just came down is an engineer too, so.
Only third on the splits. Now he needs to channel that Senna feeling inside him. Let it fly. Just let the sled do its thing. Still in third.
Oh, look at the wind down there. The wind down there can affect you a little bit in the chicane. There's one side of it is open. There's some tape in there.
Luckily he missed it. Didn't slow the sled in any way.
That was
still
100.
in third. He's going to drop behind.
By 100.
What?
How did he do that?
What? In the final corner from 800s back, he suddenly popped up.
Well, he missed the tape. So they're going to hopefully find that tape out of there, because that
track workers will be on it quickly. As you say, Ice Meister.
Look at the
John
wind.
Napier.
Look at the wind gusts. You know, there's the Adirondacks. You could blink your eyes and the weather will change.
I thought it was Florida that was 4 seasons in one day, not here. I guess that applies as well.
You know, there's the start from the big tall, recently married, still Olympic bronze medalist. Nice helmet. Nice lines here. He disappears a little bit, and then he's got a cross way over. Not bad. Somehow he found it to win by 100. Boy, it's tough losing by 100.
Yeah. All right, so he is guaranteed at least a 13th place finish. What else will happen in between? Here's Gongwei Zhang of China, the more experienced, slightly in World Cup terms, of the 2 Chinese sliders. Yang Wengang, his teammate, with 5 races in his World Cup portfolio. And Gong, this is his 12th World Cup start. Made his debut here in November 2017. That's the first time we met this young man from Shanghai.
17th at the World Champion, or excuse me, 21st at the World Championships in Königstein 17. About the same place at the Olympics, and then 17th last year at the World Championships in Whistler. So he continues to improve.
And they've been sending him out to all sorts of tracks to try and get knowledge of different conditions. Wow, starting to ease away. Yeah. Now, how far was he ahead of Dom after the first
800s.
8?
23 to 23, so it's
so
going to bleed back something. But, you know, the track is cruel. Right down here in this exit of chicane, you can hit the walls and throw your quarter-second time away. Not him, though. 119.8. That's the best, almost the best speed. Only a 1/10 of a kilometer away. This should be the leader, barring some crushing of the wall here on the uphill section.
Big lead, big
53.78, 2,400 slower. But second best time of the run. Don Parsons, his day is done. And Mr. Gang from China goes to the leader's box. And he'll finish no worse than a top 12. This could be his best. No, he had a 9th last year, right?
Well, now you're asking.
11th. No, he had 11th was his personal best. So he's right on the cusp of a personal best. If he can get one more sled, 2 more sleds, he can get up into the top 10. A little tap there, that seems like the norm. And climbs, look at the bullet form, look at the feet, the ankles together. Pretty good for a guy only been involved for 3 years.
Won here 2 weeks ago in the North America's Cup.
Yeah, the lesser, the NEC as they refer to it.
Alex Gassner of Germany, just outside the top 10 after the first heat, just 500s out of the 10. Born in Romania, now lives in Germany. Gassner from the Winterberg region, former biathlete. Last race in the World Cup was December 2018. So, like a number of them, he's been in and out of the team, depending on who's fit, whether he is or they are. Yeah,
and he is 7th and 6th at the first 2 events in Sigolda and Winterberg last year, then a 7th at the World Championships. Now here he's the 3rd German. The other 2 Germans are top of the leaderboard, 1 and 2. And there's a competition or a race within a race, especially for this designated spots under the World Championships in Altenburg, which we're hearing the Germans are going to have their German championships Christmas to New Year's to determine most of them. Some athletes have been designated as #1 and already in, but most haven't.
I'm not sure if there's anyone with that position in the skeleton field, but definitely 2 of the bobsledders have Mariama Yamanka and Francesco Friedrich for the men and the women.
50 hundredths lead.
Big advantage here from 1600s up.
Speed. Again, he's trying to make a statement, improve in the second run, move up, get in the top 10, 53.31. Wow, he went 1500s faster in his second run.
That would have left him 8th in the first heat.
Wow.
See, the problem for Gassner is that was a really great run. The first one wasn't a really great run, but his teammates are first and second.
Let's watch his expression on his face. He got out of the sled like he just lost his dog or something. I mean, he was so despondent. Now, you can see a little bit of, hey, I did something there.
And he can come back next week to the same track and try and get 2 great runs together.
Well, figure out what his 2 teammates are doing. Look at the form. 80 miles an hour. Look at the form. Let the head bouncing a little bit. That's the G-force. Alex, nice second run.
He and Christopher Grote are very similar. They're getting the consistency. But Alexander Gassner is our leader with 10 down and 10 to go here in Lake Placid.
2-minute warning to Yoon Sung Bin. 2-minute warning to Yoon Sung Bin.
There is our race leader, Alexander Gassner, on the fringes of the top 10, looking to try and improve. And congratulations from the coaches. But yeah, 10 spots away from the next closest German, which is Axel Jung in second place. That's tough. You've got to go somewhere special and dig deep within yourself, haven't you, when you know you've got a lot to make up. British girls down at the trackside watching. They were in action yesterday.
Hey, a little happy birthday to Noelle Picus Pace out there. Hope she's watching with those 4 wonderful children of hers.
I wonder if she's been out of the track at Park City, Utah this week. The North America's Cup made its second stop over there. So you got bobsleigh, skeleton for the women and the men. You got the monobob for the women and all the qualifiers for the Youth Olympic Games. I mean, that's a travelling circus worthy of Barnum and Bailey.
Plus, we're hearing all this. Nick Cunningham is in the field out there, maybe coming out of retirement.
Dave Grez-Cheshin.
The Grizz, you thought he's retired. No, he's out there. Canadians have 4 female development sleds out there in bobsledding. So great to have the Park City track up and running.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure they are as disappointed as us. We were due to be in Park City for World Cup last week, but about a month out from the races, they had issues with the cooling system and they were not able to guarantee that it would be 100% for a World Cup race. So they took the sensible option, the brave option perhaps, and just saying, okay, guys, we're going to have to scrub this. And so Lake Placid, as ever, ready to take up the slack.
Lake Placid loved it.
Yeah, well, you know,
Bring it on.
Lake Placid in America, Koenigsegg in Germany.
St.
If you've got a problem, rock up.
There.
Yeah.
You go
well,
there.
St. Moritz has a much shorter season, but Koenigsegg and Lake Placid, they can put on the World Championships at a month's notice. So there we go. Snowy Adirondack Mountains, the Peak District around Lake Placid. And we are ready to get underway with Sung Min Jung of Korea. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching the final 10 sleds go down, and he is 10th in the field after the first heat of the season.
490 start, 483. He is definitely a wounded athlete. You know, we talked about it in the first run. Got off the air of the 12-hour airplane ride and then got adjusted and I guess snapped something. And he's just not the same athlete we know, with the best start in the competition, usually the best downtime. Now in the back of the field here like this. Still accomplished slider coming down the track, but not the start time, Martin. You're the one that talked about the injury.
Yeah, popped it. Well, Richard Bromley was telling me a couple of days ago, he popped a disc, it popped back in, but when you do your lumbar discs...
Not the same speed as Gassner, but the second best speed. I don't know if he's going to catch the German on the bottom.
Is he going to finish outside the top 10?
Might be the first ever.
Is outside the top 10. Gassner is in the leader's box with 9 to go.
Wow. It's the start time. Richard, he had a 83 start in the first run, a 90 the second run. This is a wounded athlete. If he would have had that 700s better start, 2100s better, he'd have been the leader, but still not the Olympic champion that we're used to seeing. This is the guy they call the Iron Man. He knows it.
Yep.
You know, take a look. Look at the quads. Well, he just doesn't look the same running.
Fans of the Marvel Universe will know that Tony Stark Iron Man died. However, this Tony Stark Iron Man, he just needs a little bit of a reset. And getting that back healthy, it affects everything you do. When you hurt your back, everything you do is affected. Never mind athleticism, just getting out of bed and everything, sleeping, everything else. So Alexander Gassner leads with 9 to go. Next up, Marcus Wyatt, the top Brit, after the first of our 2 heats.
He's got 700s in the bank. Gassner flew down the track, as the other Germans are, who are leading the race. They're yet to come, of course. And Wyatt, pretty good. 485 start in the first run. If match it or get better. 81. Wow. 37.3. That translates into the best start speed around the first curve. He just threw it away there. Curve 2 to 3. You can't have that mistake like he just did. You have to be on the exit of that curve quietly. So he threw away that advantage. Is down to 3. Probably red numbers here on the exit of Shady. There it is.
Marcus came into the World Cup last season. This is only his 13th race for the Bristolian. Former wide receiver.
Got great speed, those starts. Look at the whiteout, that's the win. Beautiful lines there, but the speed way off the pace, 2 kilometers down. So I think Gassner's going to pick somebody else off and
so is that the black
nestle into the top
runners?
10. No, no, that was the mistake in curve 2 to 3. He falls 2 spots, 4/10 back.
All right, so Yun is in the top 10. Gassner will be no worse than 9th.
Still got a few to go, but Wyatt's problem, curve 2 to 3. That was worth 3/10, 4/10.
The answer to your question, by the way, last time Sun Bin Young was out of the top 10 was in November 2015 when he was 12th in Altenburg.
That's a long time ago. Right here, 2 to 3. This might be the worst line we're going to see in the next, all the sleds so far. 3 to 4. This is the norm. You can do that on curve 3 to 4, but you can't do it 2 to 3. Marcus, this was great. This is as good as you get coming through the chicane.
I think he's got so much potential. Really showed it last year. Just came in full of the joys of spring and just really knows how to drive.
What do you say about a start time?
Good start time.
Make a slider out of it.
Yeah. So consistency still to come. Next up, Thomas Ducours, again, multiple medalist on this track. He's had 2 silvers, 2 bronzes in the last 6 or 7 races here, but he finds himself down in 8th place, a quarter of a second away. But here's where we potentially could start to see people move up for medals.
90 start, 88 improved. Great conversation with him and Martins about their kids. Martin's kids are younger. Thomas's kids are older. In fact, his youngest son, 16 years old, playing hockey down in Switzerland. You know, Latvia's mad for hockey and basketball. Skeletons right up there, too, because of these guys. He's got green numbers. 2/10 lead. Down at 12, though. He lost a lot of time someplace. You don't know it from this 6'3" elder statesman in the sport.
Again, what you get in every single race with the Ducours brothers is preparation for the big one at the end of the season. He and Martins will be doing different things with the sleds. One will work, one won't.
This is not going to work here. He's going to fall behind Gassner also.
Yep.
3/10 worse in the second run. Gassner, boy, when he saw him get out of the sled in the first heat, wasn't too positive of a look on his face.
No.
Feeling better about life now.
And yet there are only 7 sleds left and Gassner is still in the lead. Now obviously the gaps are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but Martins Ducours doesn't quite hold it together.
Top 10 for him though.
Janine Flock, silver medalist yesterday, helping with the sleds. The Austrians and Latvians working closely together, the 2 small teams.
Martin's 4th in this event last year in Lake Placid. Can't fault this line, but it seemed like he lost a big advantage up in the Devil's Highway. 2/10 up. Next thing you know, he was only about 11/100ths up at the exit of Shady 2.
Last medal here for Thomas 4 years ago. Sergei Chudanov there with the sled. He was one of our winning coaches. He took gold in 2010-11 season, and he's helping out now with the coaching. So there's the leader, Alexander Gassner.
4 spots already.
Yeah, we had a tie for 6th. Nikita Tregibov tied the time set by Vladislav Heraskevich, so it's the Russian who goes first.
Former multiple junior world champion and silver medalist in Pyeongchang.
484, that's a good start.
Wow, 500's better start. He lost a little time at the top of the track. Last time he had a huge lead before he got to Shady, and then it went away quickly.
Russian still sliding on Schneider sleds.
3/10. Now he should, if this gets down on the teens, he's going to lose everything at the bottom. Next clock around Shady, he should maintain 25. There it starts to go to the teens.
Well, he had 1800s from the first heat. He's barely a fraction in front of Gassner. This is not as good a run as the German.
Gassner had some kind of upper part
Single
of the track.
digits.
118.9,
well,
he doesn't have the speed.
Way behind Gassner, 120.3 at the bottom.
So it's going to be tough, red numbers. Now the question is, how many spots is he going to fall?
He is behind Ducours.
Falls 3.
Wow. Gassner, what a smoking second heat. Now, if both have been the same, maybe he would be right on the tail of his teammates.
Wow, Nikita proved himself by 500s at the start. Just couldn't find the line. the junior world champion and Olympic silver medalist from Pyeongchang, perplexed. And perplexed because there's not much friction off those runners there. That's pretty good lines. But did he steer too much to achieve those lines? That's the question through 18, 19.
Did he go for too much control with the rocker?
Yeah, must, because he had 20 plus hundredths up above on the top of the track.
It's a fine line. You've got a contact patch about the size of a fingerprint, a thumbprint. If you've got too much or too little, neither are good. Vladislav Heriskevich then, top 6 for the young Ukrainian.
Physics student. Another guy too smart to be in the sport, seems like.
Leaned up by 6 kilos over the summer.
14th best start. He used to have the 20th best start last year, Martin. But he's a great glider down the track.
So a little less bulk. He's better aerodynamically, helps with the speed as well. It's not like he's thin or a flyweight.
He still looks like a bobsledder.
Yep. 502, all right.
Not quite as quick. 500 slower than his first run. He's really going to have a challenge to deal with Gassner's time at the bottom.
Made his World Cup debut on this track in November 2017, so 2 years on, he's fighting for top 6.
-8 to +6. That's relative to the start. Now, if he can keep this +10 or so, he's got a chance. Oh, done. +33, no chance to overcome this. Now it's a question, how many spots is he going to fall?
On his debut 2 races ago, he was 27th. Last year, he was 12th. At the moment, he's not going to match that. He's dropped to 7th on the splits.
Could drop 5 places.
5 to go.
So something happened between heats with his setup.
Again, trying to predict
14th
the way.
worst.
Wow.
Might be the worst time, second worst time of the. He went, look at this, 53.28 to 54.20. He went 9,200 slower.
Yeah.
That's the worst disparity in the field.
And it didn't look like the most horrendous run. So whatever they guessed was going to happen with the track, you've got to then change the sled based on the first heat and based on what you think the track's going to be like in the second. And I think they guessed wrong.
I don't know about the line there from 2 to 3.
Nice and straight.
3 to 4, this is the norm. This is pretty quiet. Did he drift too far to the left?
Not a big
Not
hit.
bad. That's not, that's not bad.
The problem is,
he was already gone by the time he got to Shady. He was already gone.
More runner contact you have, the greater the level of friction. It gives you control, but it slows you down.
Back to the drawing board there, Vlad. Boy.
Alexander Gassner leads incredibly with 5 sleds to go. Top 5 with the big surprise, perhaps, Yevgeny Rokushwev for the Russians. Yevgeny, 20 years old from Krasnoyarsk, only his 4th World Cup race, and he's in the top 5, shooting for the medals.
5:04 start, 5 flat in the first run. He has a drift there at a curve 2 to 3, and that's a curve 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and he's got to watch out here too. He's got a substantial lead that's gone.
Wow.
The track, what's happened to the track now? Do I question the track, or has it been the athlete performance coming down the track? Where Gassner he had some kind of rocket fuel in his run.
Well, Rokushwev was a quarter second quicker than Gassner in the first heat. He'll be half a second behind at the chicane. So
this is another person that's going to drop 6, 7 spots.
Yeah, like Heriskevich, he's going to end up going a second slower on his second heat than he did on his first. Is that because they had much faster ice at the beginning of the first heat? They were both off early, don't forget.
8th best time of the run.
Wow. 53.83, he did a 52.22, so that's 6/10 slower, John.
Gassner's acting like he just hit the lottery.
Well, Rokushwev was second out of the shed. Heriskevich was 8th. When did Gassner come out? 16th. Maybe his ice wasn't quite as quick as theirs.
Well, he's getting close to a medal here.
Yeah. I didn't even want to say that sentence because that's the end of that.
That's what's strange. I mean, we've got the next 4 guys down the track, or 2 of them are some of the best we've ever had.
Yep, but like Sun Bin Young, who's already back down in 3rd, and we've seen him go.
On these lines, that's not too bad.
Well, for Rokushwev, in only his 4th World Cup race, his first time here, 9th place, that's still a good result. 4 to go then. Here's last year's World Cup champion, the winner on this track twice in the last 3 races. Russia's Alexander Tretyakov, the 34-year-old veteran of the sport. How much of a veteran? Well, Tretyakov in his 113th World Cup race.
Well, he's going to have to do the Rocket Man, or what he usually does at the start. 41, he should get into 480 at least.
1100's covered the top 4. He could easily win this still.
He's going to have to be perfect.
Everyone's going to have to be perfect. This is a tricksy track today.
Ooh, that's Norm. Pretty good entrance to 3 to 4. Good exit transition 4 to 5. 4100s, don't trust that. This gets down to like 2200s at Shady. I think Gaston will be the leader. There's 32. I'm still saying it's going to be close. He gets down to about 18 or 19 on the exit of the chicane.
He had 2900s from the first heat. It's gone. He's behind Gassner. Gassner 120.5.
It's going right to the 100. This one, right either
really
way.
Close. Really close.
Oh, bad transition there. He's going to hit.
He's blown it.
Oh,
no, he
hung
hasn't.
in there. Hung in there.
Wow, Gassner in second, Tretyakov leads, Thomas Ducours in third, 3 to go.
This guarantees
even Tretyakov get a medal?
That guarantees at least a German medal, because there's 3 sleds to go and there's
even
2 Germans.
If the 2
fail, there's still a German medal.
Gassner,
What an opening day for Gassner. Alexander Tretyakov. Well,
and for Germany, 3 races yesterday, they took 6 medals out of the 9.
Yeah. I got a
wow. Look at
he made a big mistake here down and not this curve. This isn't bad. Watch the transition here. Watch him into 19. Right here, something happens. Watch as it goes through here. Look at that. His feet are up above.
Skid.
Huge skid there. And then I thought he was going to hit in the uphill section.
Yeah.
Boy, he hung on. Fingernails.
He went fast and loose there, didn't he? Saw the huge steer from the chicane. 3 to go here. All right, here we go. My maths was rubbish. It is the 114th World Cup start for Martins Ducours. The 300 and odd was all his races ever. So 114th World Cup race. He's in 3rd place after the first heat, 800ths off the lead.
4.86 in the first run. If anybody knows, he's got to match it. 470. What? Come on.
Are you kidding
me? 470's the track record. Are you? Come on, a 35-year-old guy.
I tell you, in Segulda last year, the season opener, he was quicker at 34 than he'd been at 20 in the start.
2000s, only 2000s up. He should be more than that.
Well, don't forget,
Something
this is
wrong.
over Tretyakov. He was only 300s quicker than Tretyakov in the first heat.
2400s. Now remember,
Tretyakov
had a bad bottom half.
At the bottom.
If he stays at 24.
Long wait for the clock.
27.
27.
This will be the leader. 120 clicks. Only the Russian has been better than that.
Looking for his
Look at his head down.
Placid win.
Look at his head down. Classic style.
Just steering with the head. 53.3. That's a good run.
Wow.
Quarter second quicker than Tretyakov.
Okay, Martins Ducours, 36 years old. They said he was going to retire.
And finally, somebody goes quicker than Gassner. Gassner was 53.31. Martins is just on 53.30.
Martins, how did you do that at the start? What's with that? How do you come within breaking the track record? You're 36 years old.
Gassner started 492. Martins 473. Martins beat him by 100th in this run. 100th, and yet he started 0.2 quicker.
Look at this head down. Watch it bob a little bit right here. But that's the G-force right there. Oh, he's steering with his neck. He had his head straight down on the ice. Wow, the best start.
Well, when you're doing
what
80,
else can we say about
when
this
you're
guy?
doing 80, turning your head makes a big difference
what
to
else?
steering.
That was unbelievable to see that.
Wow, okay, if there wasn't pressure on Axel Jung and Felix Kaisinger before, that turned up the screws.
But when you run like that, you could overrun and slip, and he just did it casually.
So Axel Jung, 2nd place after the first heat, 600ths out of gold.
One of the biggest runs of his career, 486, so he's got to get to 482 or something. 480, that's a great I mean, maybe the start track's getting better, but hey, that's 600ths improvement. His speed, excellent. 3 to 4, not bad. If he's within 10 hundredths, oh yeah, 400s. If he keeps this within 9-10 hundredths, because they were fast on the bottom, both German sleds, the one coming up after this too. 10 hundredths here, he's got a chance. He's got the lead.
Looking for win number 2 of his career against Martin Stukors, who's looking for win number 52
Boy, for him
of
to
his
overcome
career.
that start deficiency, bang, 800s, 120.1. Very, very great speed. Head down perfectly. Looks like this is going to be the leader. At least a silver medal for Axel Jung. Best time of the day.
Great run from the German.
Wow.
53.2. That's a 10th quicker than Dukurs on that run alone. Wow, no wonder he's stoked with that.
Wow. Very impressed with what he's doing up in the Devil's Highway. Is that his best finish? How many medals does he have?
One win. Koenigsegg 2018.
He had a second last year at Winterberg.
So looking for win number 2. Dukurs will not get win number 52 today.
10th in last year's World Championships. Look at his head. This is in the, look at his head here. I mean, a little bit like Dukars. He's peaking a little bit. But the next curve, ooh, that was a skid.
Yeah, and in the snow. Well, whatever the Germans are doing with their runner setup and their runners, it is really allowing the sleds to fly. So the junior world champion, Coach Dirk Matchens, knows we're going to have a German winner. But will we have...
Germans won 2 yesterday, one in skeleton. This is the only discipline of the 5 in the sports of bob and skeleton that the Germans haven't dominated in the last decade. I think they have a coming out party here in the first World Cup of this 1920 season.
5th ever World Cup race. He made his debut in Sigulda last November. He was 5th. That's his best result.
200 slower at the start.
Yeah, but 483. What a getaway. So it's between him and Axel Jung. It's dead even. Not in the
bang.
red, not
That's
in the green.
a hard hit there. But this junior world champion, he flew down the track. He's 900s back. He's got to keep that within 1500s to have a chance here. This is where Axel Jung made it the money, right here.
Felix Kaisinger, 21 years old. He's won here in January this year. He won in the Intercontinental Cup, the junior tier of sliding.
Got to keep it within 2000s. Have a chance for the medal.
Wrong
22,
side into the chicane.
118.5.
It's going to Axel Jung, but will he be in the medals? Is it going to be Germany 1-2, or will Dukurs and Tretiakov hold on? He's going to be out of the medals.
No,
he's behind Gassner.
Gassner goes from... Wow.
Well, a bit of schadenfreude there, because Axel Jung is thrilled to win, but disappointed for his teammate Felix Kaisinger. No question, Kaisinger's time will come, and I'm sure not before too much longer, but he just couldn't quite hold it all together, and
his day will come.
Yeah, no question. He's too good not to
junior
succeed.
world champion, the start. I mean, I don't know how many trips he's had down this Lake Placid track. Didn't do well, you know, he started slower. Axel Jung started 500s faster. Dukars put on the rockets. He was 10th faster. But this kid will come. He'll learn from this experience. Still a great start for him.
Yep.
Top 5. 3 German sleds in the top 5.
That's fantastic.
When was the last time we had 3 German sleds in the top 5 of a World Cup?
Well,
maybe never.
The last man to win for Germany on this track was Frank Rommel in the 2009-2010 season. A decade on, Axel Jung is on the top step of the podium for Germany once more. His 2nd career win. The first in Koenigsegg, the 2nd here in Lake Placid.
When's the last time a German men won a World Cup? Might be Frank Rommel.
No. I know. It was Axel Jung, 2008 in Koenigsegg. But the last winner here was Frank Rommel a decade ago. So Axel Jung, the winner from Martin Stukors and Alexander Tretiakov. Alexander Gassner 4th from 11th in the first heat, and Felix Kaisinger 1st to 5th as Thomas Dukors rounds out the top half dozen ahead of the Olympic champion Sunbin Jung, Nikita Chegabov, Yevgeny Rokishwev, the young rookie, Marcus Wyatt in the top 10 for Great Britain. On his return, Don Parsons in 13th place, Austin Florian 14th, the top US slider. And there are your finishers in the first race of the season. Well, after the first heat threw up some surprising names. We knew we were in for a bit of entertainment, but what a race that was. Axel Jung in with a real shot at the medals after the first heat. And as we saw in the women's skeleton race where Germany went 1, 2, 3, Jacqueline Learning ahead of Tina Hermann and Sophia Griebel. So Germany scoring victory here with Axel Jung and Alexander Gassner and Felix Kaisinger 4th and 5th. Only the veterans, Martin Ducours and Alexander Tretiakov, with 114 and 113 starts each, were able to break up the German domination of the top 3. Well, chatting with former teammate Anna Fernstetter, who's now sliding for the Czech Republic there, Felix Kaisinger, he will get over the disappointment. Martin Ducours, silver medal, as he was in February in the race here. Ducours has only once been off the podium in the last decade, and that was 2016-17 when Tretiakov, Matt Antoine and Sun Bin Jung was our top 3. If memory serves there, Martin's just outside the top 3. So Ducours' first win on the track was in the 2012 Worlds. He took a silver the year before behind Sergei Chudanov. And since then, Martin Ducours has won 2 out of every 3 races here. And we have a new winner in the form of Axel Jung. And of course, because the season continues here next week, Jung and everybody else comes back to Lake Placid on Tuesday to start training up for next weekend's race. So they get a day off to rest, and for Axel to enjoy the victory, and for Felix Kaisinger to get his head around a tough second heat. First day of the BMW IBSF Men's Skeleton World Cup season. Victorious Axel Jung of Germany heads the World Cup rankings as they head to Lake Placid next week. Martin Ducours second, Alexander Tretiakov third. 5th place for Felix Kaisinger. If he hadn't led the first heat, I'm sure he'd be happy with that. Alex Gassner from 11th to 4th. What a day at the office. He had a disappointing first run, turned on its head by a blazing second heat. And that's how the points stack up after our 27 sliders here in the first heat. Well, it was a great day for Axel Jung. Started with a 600th of a second deficit from the first heat to Felix Kaisinger, laid down a blazing second run to get ahead of Alexander Tretiakov and Martin Ducours. And then when Kaisinger stumbled and dropped down to 5th position, Axel Jung was able to claim his 2nd career World Cup win. His first came in Koenigsegg, Bavaria in 2018. And the man from Dresden takes win number 2 here in Lake Placid. A very similar track to Altenburg, where the World Championships are at the end of the season. Bronze medal then for Alexander Tretiakov, last year's winner here. Silver for Martin Ducours, last year's silver medalist. And Axel Jung, the first German to win in Lake Placid in a decade. More action coming up next week for the skeleton sliders in Lake Placid. And for bobsleigh this afternoon, 2-man bob on track at 11. That's 2 Eastern. That's 1900 Greenwich Mean Time. Wherever you are, join us for that. And I'm thrilled to say we will have Olympic champion Kaylee Humphries in the booth to talk us through the 2-man race this afternoon. Till then, from me, Martin Haven, John Morgan, the IBSF TV crew, bye for now.
Yellow box.
Okay, your 2nd gold medal, your first since the 2017 when you beat Martin Ducours. How? Well, how do you feel so good about this track?
I don't know.
Oh, no, this is Deutsch. This isn't Deutsch, I'm sorry. Okay, so, wow. Were you surprised with your result?
Ja, auf jeden Fall. Ich habe gestern mit meiner Freundin telefoniert und gesagt, ich denke, zwischen Platz 1 und 10 ist alles möglich. Lake Placid ist eine schwere Bahn, hier macht jeder Fehler, niemand fährt perfekt runter. Ich habe es heute zweimal relativ gut getroffen und bin einfach nur überglücklich, dass es gereicht hat.
Did you see what Dukars did with the start time?
Ja, ich habe es auf jeden Fall realisiert, habe es mitbekommen, habe nicht hingeschaut oder so, habe mir seinen Lauf auch nicht angeschaut, aber ich habe es schon mitbekommen, dass es eine sehr, sehr schnelle Startzeit war. Aber wollte mich davor nicht unter Druck setzen lassen, sondern einfach mein Ding machen.
What was your expectations coming in here?
Eigentlich hatte ich keine Erwartungen. Ich versuche immer erwartungslos in den Rennen reinzugehen, einfach von Lauf zu sehen und dann einfach im Wettkampf das Beste zu zeigen. Und das ist mir heute gut gelungen.
And now next week you get to think about it?
Wir werden sehen. Also es ist wieder ein neues Rennen, man kann wieder neue Fehler machen, da stehen die Uhren wieder auf Null und dann geht es wieder los. Und ich hoffe, dass ich das dann wiederholen kann. Ich werde mein Bestes geben.
And the World Championships are here next year?
Ja, das ist noch ein ganzes Stück hin. Also da kommt noch so viel vorher. Erstmal ruhig bleiben, freuen über das erste Rennen heute und dann von Woche zu Woche weiterschauen.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Danke.
Now we do English. I ask in English, you speak in Deutsch.
Bisschen mehr nach links, bitte.
Speak in Deutsch.
Backwards.
Surprised with the result?
Ja, sehr. Also sehr glücklich mit dem zweiten Lauf. Im ersten war es nicht ganz so gut. Im zweiten habe ich dann alle Punkte nochmal gut getroffen, noch gut aufgeholt und bin jetzt super happy mit dem 4. Platz. Glückwunsch an Axel. Mega, mega guter Wettkampf für ihn. Heute war, denke ich, ein gutes Gesamtergebnis. Bin super happy.
And one more week to train here. You know, maybe ready for the World Championships next year.
Ja, auf jeden Fall. Jetzt haben wir noch eine Trainingswoche mit dem zweiten Weltcup hier, dann in Lake Placid. Und ja, ich denke, bin ganz guter Dinge und freue mich dann auch auf die WM hier in Lake Placid.
Okay, now we do the English. One moment.